All right, welcome everybody to the Encinitas State of the City, the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce State of the City. We are very excited to have everybody here, and in order to get going, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Alex Mead. I am the chairman of the board at the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce. Like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming to the virtual. This is the first ever virtual State of the City. And so you're all here on a historic day. I also want to thank everybody from the city, our CEO, Sherry Yardley, our board members, and all of the staff and volunteers who really helped organize this event and helped really make this happen. I think for me and for everybody else here at the Chamber, we really strive ourselves on putting together these events. And it's been hard for us, with all the COVID restrictions and health restrictions and wanting to be safe for our community, but really happy for people to come together and to join us in these events. I hope you were all able to pick up your swag bags filled with materials to make the mule of your choice, as long as great stuff from our sponsoring restaurants, and hope you enjoy those. And as we get going, if you asked me in January, would I be sitting in my guest room wearing a nice shirt and basketball shorts if it was a cold October day for us Encinitas and local San Diego people, if I was going to be hosting and welcoming a virtual event, I would have said you're crazy. But then again, this year is one of those years that we're all going to say it's uncertain times. We've all had challenges. The world's going to change, the new normal, unprecedented, but it's true. And no matter how you say it, this year it's been hard on all of us. I think we all have been feeling it in different ways. I'm a business owner, and as part of the leadership of the chamber, there have been moments in the last few months that I've looked around the room and said, can we continue? Can we keep going without anything changing? And I know many of you have probably felt the same way. You've asked yourself the same questions. You've had, you may have been furloughed or laid off or have started new ventures. And this is nothing easy, mixed with the stresses of business work. Kids are at home doing distance learning and really trying to figure out how to make this new normal work, and has made this year really unbelievably challenging. But to me, it is not all bad. Since March, I have seen something amazing happen within the community of Encinitas, and it has been the community members, the partnerships like Encinitas 101, Leucadia, Cardiff, the city. A lot of the organizations have come together and really said, how can we help our community? And the people themselves, the business owners, the people that live in our community have really stepped up to make a difference. And that is just absolutely incredible to me, that when in a time of need, we as citizens came to each other's need and aid. And it's something that I'm really proud to see, especially with the chamber, is, we've been able to, with countless volunteers, to really not only keep us going, but for help us grow. And we found we've been able to adapt in a new way to serve our business community, our members, and our local organizations through, one of the things we did early on is created a support members page in collaboration and partnership with the city and the 101s, is where we had information, which restaurants were open, which restaurants were doing takeout, which were doing delivery, so people could still support in a safe way, and those businesses to still be able to, bring in business and to stay alive for when this thing finally passes or when the new normal hits. And so I want to thank everybody there for helping partner with that. The other thing we've done is been a local resource for local, state, and federal resources around COVID-19, business resources, in some cases aid, partnering with the local representatives and state and federal representatives, really to bring aid and resources to our community. And I think many of you have probably noticed that the chamber has certainly, we've certainly stepped up, and we've certainly expanded what we do and what we offer to our members. And being that resource in such a troubling time has been remarkable as well. And you know what? 2020 is most people are going to say this is the year of coronavirus or COVID-19, and I'm going to disagree because I'm going to remember how we've come together, how the city has stepped up to help businesses, how the local businesses have stepped up to help other local businesses, how the partnerships, our relationship with E101, Leucadia, and Cardiff has never been stronger as we've partnered and joined forces on many different endeavors and things going on in the city. And for the chamber, for us, 2021 is looking bright. Like I've mentioned, we found a way to adapt to better serve our community. We're going to be expanding our virtual events. We're going to start, hosting small group networking to stay safe within the restrictions and make sure people are feeling comfortable with it. But while still people can grow their businesses, we're going to expand some resources and educational opportunities. Our members providing that resource and us providing that resource. And overall, I am really excited for the next year with our leadership team and expanding the board. We are very excited and very hopeful for the future, and we're here to support you. And of course, we would love any feedback, any recommendations. So feel free to stop by the chamber, give us a call, or shoot us an email with ideas that we could continue to help. Well, I feel like that's enough of me talking. So let's go ahead and keep going with our presentation here. And we can't make this event happen without our sponsors. And this year, our platinum sponsors are Scripps Health, SDG&E, and Encinitas 101. And I would like to introduce two of them are going to go ahead and give us a few words tonight as they've been able to join. And first up, I would like to introduce Dr. Scott Eisman. He's the Chief Physician Operations Executive. Scott, make sure you're unmuted and go ahead.
I think I've worked it correctly, but if people can't hear, let me know. Good evening, and thank you for asking me to speak tonight. I really liked a lot of the things you had to say. I think that when I think about our almost 1,600 employees at the hospital, I think we are the largest employer in Encinitas. I think of all this year has meant on both sides, both for our patients and all the hardship, all the difficulty. And I think about the incredible ways that we've seen our patients and our community adapt to this particular pandemic, and how we've come together on the provider side for all of our nurses, respiratory therapists, EVS, environmental people, doctors, administrators, not just at Scripps Encinitas, but throughout the Scripps Health system, to respond to this unbelievable and very challenging time in our health. And I'm old enough to have lived through the beginning part of HIV/AIDS, and it's just a profound replay, and in many ways worse. But I think I'd like to give people the message of hope, the hope that we will have vaccines, the hope that as we continue to distance and wear masks and do all the things that you see so many people doing. I run 3-4 times a week in Encinitas. I live in Cardiff, and when I run, I can run down side streets, and I notice people distancing and wearing their masks and being careful with each other. And it's a testament to our community and to the efforts that everybody has to make sure that we're safe. To that end, we've seen a substantial drop off in our COVID population within our hospital. I think there's only 5 patients in the hospital now with COVID. Fortunately, our mortality rates have been low, and we're getting through this with all the necessary supplies that are needed within the hospital. I started working at Scripps Encinitas in 1986. It was a 78-bed hospital with a 6-bed emergency room. And for those that remember, used to park in the parking lot and actually walk directly in the emergency room. There was no lobby, there was no nothing. Today, we're just short of 200 beds. We have a 36-bed emergency room. And in 4.5 years, we'll expand with the unbelievable partnership with the city to grant us the permits to 260 beds with 16 new intensive care unit beds, new operating rooms, new step-down unit bed, observation beds, procedure rooms. And I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's been my history with Encinitas to see it grow from a small community referral center, really, to a tertiary medical center that serves our community in North County. And I think all of us, including myself, I'm not old, but I'm not young either. All of us depend on the hospital, depend on the doctors that are associated with the hospital, and all the care that's provided in just profound ways. We will be implementing a new imaging capability on our campus with state-of-the-art MRI, CT, breast imaging for the early detection of breast cancer. We just finished our new office building at the 326 location, which is kind of at the north little triangle of our campus, which will house the Scripps MD Anderson undertaking for Encinitas, both private offices, including pulmonary, Connect the Docs, which are private groups, oncology groups, and Scripps Clinic Medical Group, all coming together in an integrated way to provide care for our community on an ambulatory basis. We just received, as I think people may know, a gift from Warner and Deborah Lusardi of the Lusardi Corporation, which is a national construction company headquartered in San Diego, a gift of $25 million to help us build our hospital and take care of our North County colleagues and patients. So it is just quite a remarkable set of achievements that all of us have witnessed. And I wanted to thank the Chamber, thank the city for asking us to be here tonight. And it's our privilege to be a sponsor.
Thank you very much, Dr. Eisman. So I would next like to welcome, got to reset my thing here. I'd like to welcome from SDG&E, Estela de Llanos. I hope I pronounced that correctly. She is the Vice President of Clean Transportation, Sustainability, and Chief Environmental Officer. So Estela, will you please, if you can, unmute yourself and turn on your video.
Okay, great. Can you all hear me okay?
Perfect.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It is a true pleasure and honor for me to be here tonight. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to hear the State of the City address. And on behalf of SDG&E, I would just like to express our appreciation to Mayor Blakespear, the City Council, and city staff for all that you do to keep the city running amid this pandemic and everything that you've accomplished this year, despite just a multitude of challenges. I don't need to tell you all that we live in unprecedented times marked by historic challenges, COVID-19, social justice protests, record wildfires and heat waves, rolling blackouts, just to name a few. And the events of 2020 have challenged not only how we live, but how we do our work. And they've also further underscored the sense of urgency that we all feel to act more quickly and more collaboratively to tackle our biggest challenges like climate change and social inequity. And recognizing that climate action has long been a priority for Encinitas, and your participation in the Power Your Drive program is a fantastic example of that. I thought I would take this opportunity to share with you a little bit about what SDG&E is doing to help create a thriving, resilient, and more sustainable future for our customers and hopefully our stakeholders in the region as well. Earlier this month, we released our first ever company-wide sustainability strategy, which includes specific goals aimed at achieving a carbon neutral future. We're really proud of this. It's taken many months to put it together, and we've tried to take a holistic approach that recognizes that sustainability is multidimensional. It encompasses not just environmental, but also social and governance objectives. Our strategy recognizes that taking bold action on climate needs to happen without compromising safety or reliability, and that the clean energy transition needs to happen in a way that frankly leaves nobody behind. So to that end, we've adopted goals for environmental stewardship, how we operate our energy infrastructure, expanding clean transportation throughout the region, grid modernization, community engagement, and of course, the partnerships that are necessary to make this all happen. SDG&E is committed to working with customers and stakeholders like the City of Encinitas, the Encinitas Chamber, and community organizations to help this transition throughout our region and make sure that it's inclusive. I invite you all to review our sustainability strategy. It can be found on our website at sdgne.com/sustainability. I hope you'll all provide feedback, collaborate with us, and then help to hold us accountable. This is a foundational strategy for us. We will be updating it over time. And if there's one thing that we know, it's that there's so much momentum in our region and in California to address climate change and tackle our biggest challenges. And I certainly look forward to learning more about the city's future plans and how we can work together to build on that momentum. So thank you all again for having us this evening, and we look forward to the rest of the program.
For those of you who've been to our event in person in the last few years, you know that we have amazing food. We have great restaurants here in Encinitas, and they always provide donated food to the chamber to come deliver it and serve it and talk about it. And I think everybody enjoys that. So I want to thank the restaurants who participated this year and were able to, and please just go support all of the local restaurants. They are definitely, it's hard enough being a restaurant, let alone in a pandemic. So I want to make sure I thank all of them, and please go visit when you get a chance. We're going to go to our next question. We still have some people joining back in. We have one more question. As people are coming back in, we have one more question. But before we get there, I want to thank, again, more of our sponsors, our gold sponsors. Again, like I said, we can't do this event without sponsors and without the community and without the organizations that truly, help all the organization businesses run. And I really do, from the bottom of my heart in the chamber, really appreciate everybody for all that you do. My mouse gets a little trigger happy. And I also want to thank, again, more of the sponsors, the 101s, the Cardiff, Leucadia, Encinitas. We're all partners in this and in the city and trying to make it better for not only the business community, but the community as a whole. The YMCA, Leech Tag, Grower School, Belmont Village Senior Living, and of course, Minimap Press for helping with all the printing as usual. We did print quite a few things before we had to postpone the event back in March. So I do appreciate, obviously, all the businesses that support the chamber and the communities. So I'd like to welcome Mayor Catherine Blakespear for the 2020 State of the City.
Good evening. I'm Catherine Blakespear. It's my great honor to serve as your Encinitas mayor. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I would like to welcome my fellow council members, the Encinitas City staff, the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce, and our many guests tonight in our first ever virtual State of the City event. This will be a unique presentation this year, not just in our virtual format, but in the content we share. We'll give our significant accomplishments their due attention, and we'll also be touching on some of the undeniable challenges that 2020 has presented. First, I would like to acknowledge those with us tonight who make Encinitas the energetic and desirable home that it is. Thank you to the Encinitas Chamber of Commerce for hosting this annual event that brings our business and greater community together in such a meaningful way. And to our Deputy Mayor and City Council members, I want to say thank you for your dedicated service to our community. And to our city staff, I often say that if it weren't for you, nothing would actually get done. I would also like to introduce our brand new city manager, Pamela Antill, who is here with us tonight with just 2 weeks under her belt in Encinitas. And to our businesses, community members, and volunteers, thank you for bringing your talents to Encinitas. This event is usually held in March, but needed to be postponed because of COVID-19. We kept hope alive for some time that we'd be able to meet in person this fall, but the persistence of this terrible virus requires us to meet virtually. With this in mind, there seemed to be no better theme for tonight's address than In It Together. While this national crisis has truly upended life as we know it, it has also brought out the best in Encinitans. The vast majority of our residents and businesses have complied with public health orders and the changing guidelines on business operations and the use of our beaches and parks. Thank you for all of your patience as we have navigated these waters together. The Encinitas City Council acted quickly to protect residents and businesses by enacting a moratorium on both residential and commercial evictions and dismissed water utility bill late payments for those who were unable to pay because of financial hardship brought on by the pandemic. When the governor shut down indoor use for non-essential businesses, we were among the first cities to allow no-fee permits for use of sidewalks and streets for both retail and restaurant use. To date, almost 50 restaurants are now able to operate in outside cafes. We've also opened up our parks to allow businesses to conduct classes and other activities outside, again with no fee. And we have distributed $500,000 in grant funding to assist 200 small businesses and allocated a total of $110,000 for our 3 Main Street organizations and the Chamber of Commerce. And we have funded 42 families with our rental and utility assistance program, all with the help of $1.9 million in CARES Act funding received by the city. We've worked hard to educate our residents on the importance of wearing facial coverings while in public. You've likely seen the banners on our light poles and the many signs placed around town. We've enlisted the help of the sheriff and volunteers in the efforts to educate and help distribute masks, with over 22,000 free masks given away to the public. By normalizing mask wearing in our community, we've increased safety for everyone, and it shows. Encinitas has consistently had one of the lowest infection rates of any city in the county. I would like to give a special shout out to the Chamber and to our 101 Main Street organizations for their assistance in helping us get the word out. Like many cities throughout California, Encinitas is experiencing a decline in revenue due to COVID. However, due to solid property tax revenue and years of conservative budgeting, we are weathering the storm well. However, the uncertainty of the duration of this economic downturn has required a major rethink of our capital improvement program. This spring, the city reprioritized the capital program, with council opting to forego the issuance of any debt and limiting our capital improvement program to what can be financed with grants and available cash. We also implemented a 6% across the board cut to our operations budget. Despite 2020 being a tumultuous year, I am proud to say that the state of the city of Encinitas is strong as we actively prepare for the challenges ahead. Returning again to my In It Together theme, I can say with great certainty that if COVID has taught us anything, it's the interdependence we have on each other for our survival and success. How much we rely on one another to keep each other safe. How much we rely on our businesses to provide the goods and services we need. And how important it is that the city work in concert with all of our partners. And in this fractious national political climate, it is more important than ever to celebrate how we Encinitans have come together as one to ensure the success of our great city. Through vibrancy and ingenuity, Encinitas is uniquely our own. Its spirit is something that I've always cherished, and even more so after having had the privilege of serving as your mayor for nearly 4 years. With the insights I've gained, I can say that we establish priorities that matter to our residents and businesses, and with determination, work to enact positive change. One area that is always on the top of that priority list is public safety. I'm very pleased to say that we are now ranked the 29th safest city in California, according to the SafeWise Safest Cities report, rising an incredible 24 places since last year. And this year, in a proactive move to address civil unrest sweeping the nation, we organized a public safety forum to discuss community policing in Encinitas. We are also actively working with groups like Encinitas for Equality to help educate and mobilize the community to work in allyship to support and protect diversity. In 2019, the Encinitas Fire Department responded to 6,800 calls for service and has provided mutual aid on 13 different fires over 157 days. The department also added a new environmentally friendly fire engine to its fleet to be housed at our Leucadia fire station. And our lifeguards made 1,384 marine safety rescues last year, helping to keep our beaches safe for all who enjoy them. Environmental protection continues to be a priority of our city, and I'm amazed by the extraordinary strides toward achieving the goals outlined in our climate action plan. And while we didn't develop our climate action plan to win awards, we did earn the 3rd accolade in 2019, being awarded the Outstanding Planning Document of the Year and a statewide award by the California Association of Environmental Professionals. To say we've set the bar high is an understatement, and I'm thrilled to see these ambitious goals being realized. One major achievement in particular is the launch of our Community Choice Energy Partnership with the cities of San Diego, Chula Vista, Imperial Beach, and La Mesa. This new joint powers authority, called San Diego Community Power, was 4 years in the making and will be worth the time invested as it moves us closer to 100% renewable energy. We're also delighted at the appointment of our very own City Council member, Joe Mosca, as the chair of the board. As we prepare for our 2021 launch, we are one momentous step closer to purchasing and using 100% renewable energy. We also continue to work toward dramatically reducing single-use plastics throughout the city. 91% of plastic is not recycled and remains a permanent blight on our environment. Much of it ends up polluting our oceans and becoming a part of the food that we eat. We are making real changes in how plastics are sold and used in Encinitas. I believe our behaviors, actually reducing how much plastic we use, is a key step in taking these pollutants out of our environment. The distribution of plastic water bottles will no longer be allowed at any city permitted events or on city properties. And we've banned plastic bags, plastic straws, and restaurant use of styrofoam containers, as well as the sale of styrofoam food coolers, egg cartons, and polystyrene peanuts. Since these changes were made, the city's Stormwater Division reports that the vast majority of our businesses are in compliance. Organic waste, such as food and yard clippings, is our next challenge. The state has mandated a 75% reduction in the amount of organic waste disposed in landfills by 2025. To help address this, EDCO, the city's trash collection provider, is nearly online with an exciting new anaerobic digestion facility to process Encinitas organic waste into renewable natural gas and fertilizers. Starting in early 2021, Encinitas residents will soon be able to dispose of food waste in their existing green waste bins as part of the normal yard waste collection cycle. However, if we can prevent the unnecessary generation of organic waste in the first place, we can save the environmental costs of collection and transportation. We will continue to promote source reduction and home composting, including our Less to Landfill programs designed to help businesses reduce their food waste. And new gleaning events will help turn our excess fruit and produce from gardens into food that can be provided to agencies serving families in need. I continue to be encouraged by our community's support and participation in these environmental initiatives. It's another good example of how we're in it together. Switching gears to our city's fiscal health, it is important to note that even though 2020 has been fraught with challenges related to COVID, we're still in a good place. 2019 was a solid year for the city's finances. We ended the year with a $6.5 million surplus, which enabled us to pay down another $500,000 of our unfunded pension liability. This continues a 5-year trend of chipping away at this liability. This is a key component of the city's overall long-term fiscal health. We also dedicated more than $8.2 million to needed capital improvement projects that will benefit our city for years to come. As the reality of the global pandemic came into clearer focus, our reserves continued to be fully funded at $15.8 million, and we have no reduction in service delivery to the public. This means our finances are strong, and as mayor, that helps me sleep better at night as we continue to navigate the far-reaching effects of this shifting economic landscape. And while the coronavirus has certainly changed the way we move about as a society, we know that this change is only temporary. That's why we are keeping a sharp focus on transportation planning for the future. Statistically speaking, improvements to infrastructure are the most effective way to shift people away from driving alone in their car to using different modes of transportation. To this end, we have made great strides, adding 1,600 feet of sidewalk, 8 pedestrian crosswalks, 2.8 miles of bike lanes, and 8.5 miles of traffic calming measures, as well as 6.5 miles of pavement resurfaced. In total, we now have 42 miles of bike lanes and trail routes. This investment in infrastructure was very timely, as the COVID pandemic has brought about a huge increase in the number of bike riders and walkers on our roads. We've also launched a new program to encourage Encinitans to travel throughout town outside their cars. I'm reminded of the very successful first annual Cyclovia event in January 2020, when we shut down Highway 101 to cars and opened it for everyone else to enjoy the local businesses and socialize with friends outside. We continue to focus on projects like physically separated bike lanes with bollards to make biking in Encinitas a safer and more attractive transportation option. Other transportation projects breaking ground this year include the El Portal Undercrossing project and the Leucadia Streetscape project. In fact, I'm very excited to share some breaking news that we just awarded the contract to begin active construction of the Leucadia Streetscape project, starting in early 2021. Not only will this project reclaim a neighborhood road from commuting and cut-through traffic, but it will also focus our efforts on enhancing the undebatable greatness of Leucadia. With Streetscape, we are able to introduce purposeful elements to improve the area's walkability, support local businesses and eateries, and create a pedestrian railroad undercrossing in El Portal that will create a new and safe east-west connection between neighborhoods, Coast Highway 101, and the beach. We know how cherished this stretch of Coast Highway 101 is to our community, and we've approached this project with due care and lots of planning. We begin construction with a new phased approach, which matches the scope, budget, and timeline with the city's ability to pay under our current financial circumstances. The first phase of construction on Streetscape, which is between Marchetta Street and Basil Street, and it will provide pedestrian connectivity with the El Portal undercrossing. Further south in Cardiff, we've completed two major transportation safety enhancements: the new protected bike lanes along Highway 101 and the city's new coastal rail trail. I've been delighted to see so many people using the coastal rail trail since it opened. It's as if the trail has always been there. Cardiff is also home to the first railroad quiet zone in Encinitas. The new safety mechanisms that enable trains to cross without blowing their horns, not to mention the new safer crosswalks, have changed how our neighborhoods interact with our rail corridor. Just like the coastal rail trail, these are not small endeavors, and they would not happen without partnerships with Sandag, North County Transit District, and Caltrans. So a very heartfelt thank you to our partners on those two projects. I would also be remiss not to touch on the largest transportation project in the city's history, the I-5 Corridor project. I'm sure everyone is looking forward to this being completed. This project will add new managed lanes in both directions, plus new auxiliary lanes, and reached its midway point earlier this year. I'm happy to report it's on schedule to be completed by 2022. Finally, as your mayor, I work to represent the transportation planning needs of Encinitas on a variety of regional boards. This helps ensure that our local voice is heard when regional decisions are being made. I serve as vice chair on Sandag, and I'm honored to have been selected by the North County mayors to represent our coastal area on the San Diego County Regional Airport Authority Board. My goal is to make greener transit to the airport a priority. I'd like to say that when capital improvement projects truly reflect the authentic culture of a community, they seamlessly integrate into daily life. And there's no better place to see this truth in action than in Encinitas, where our beautifully restored coastal dunes, created by the Cardiff State Beach Living Shoreline project, have transformed this beloved coastal area. By approaching this project with a collaborative spirit and ingenuity, we were able to partner with several different agencies to solve the problem of Highway 101 vulnerability and beach erosion in a manner that benefits our environment and our community. Now we have more sand to enjoy at the beach, less flooding of Highway 101 after major storms, restored native habitat for our coastal wildlife, and improved access to get to and view our beaches and picturesque new sand dunes. We have been successful working at the national level as well. After more than 20 years of hard work and planning, this year the city finally received its first federal funding from the Army Corps of Engineers to support a major long-term sand replenishment project in Encinitas and Solana Beach. The initial $400,000 in funding, along with $900,000 in state grant funding, will help protect our shoreline from natural erosion and storm surge damage for years to come. We secured this funding with the help of Representative Mike Levin and Senator Dianne Feinstein. Protecting our residents, their property, and our environment are top concerns of mine and everyone at the city, and this funding allows us to do more. In addition to our stunning coastlines, another very special part of Encinitas culture is its parks, recreation, and arts programs. And although many of these have been paused this year because of COVID, we do have some notable achievements worth mentioning. Recently, we installed more than 53 mosaics as part of the Santa Fe Undercrossing Public Art Project. These 3 feet by 5 feet pieces were commissioned from members of our community to depict Encinitas heritage, and I think they do a perfect job of that while bringing beauty to this heavily utilized passageway. In 2019, the city's inaugural Art Night Encinitas series was held. This event showcased a variety of more than 50 local visual arts for the Encinitas community to enjoy. There were also 68 concerts hosted in 2019. I'm sure you share my sentiment that we can't wait to gather again as a community to enjoy these types of special occasions. In the meantime, one thing we can enjoy are our outdoor park spaces. Last year, the city installed much needed shade structures at several parks. Installations were made at Encinitas Community Park, Leo Mullen Sports Park, and Sun Vista Park. We're also constructing our newest park as we speak. Olympus Park is 3.1 acres, and it's located at the southeast corner of Piraeus and Olympus Streets in the Leucadia neighborhood of Encinitas. This park was designed with significant input from the community, and it includes 2 playgrounds, sport courts, skate elements, a pump track, dog park, and a zip line. There are also passive elements like shade structures and walking paths. And finally, if you haven't already done so, I would encourage you to take the community survey that's currently being circulated regarding the Pacific View property. As you know, the city purchased this former elementary school site with the vision of transforming it into a cultural arts center, and we want to bring that vision to reality with your input. The survey is now available on the city's website. Another area that exemplifies our In It Together theme this year is housing. An area where Encinitas really has become a leader is in our approach to meet the housing needs of our community through approval of accessory dwelling units, or ADUs. We affectionately call these granny flats, but we know that these accessible and affordable homes are not just for grannies. They are for everybody, young people, families, seniors on a limited income, and any other type of tenant. Almost a year ago, the city unveiled a program whereby we offer pre-approved plans for these granny flats. You can simply download them from the city's website for free. I'm so proud that the city of Encinitas earned the prestigious Helen Putnam Award from the League of California Cities for its leadership and innovation. Last year, we processed 219 ADU or granny flat requests, and 27 were for our pre-approved design. That means 15% of permit requests were expedited due to the Permit Ready program. I'm extremely encouraged by these numbers. We know that housing is a tough challenge to solve. It will continue to be a point of conversation for our city as we navigate the process of implementing our housing plan to afford people of all income levels the chance to live here in Encinitas. Because ADUs are one way we can increase our housing numbers, I'm all in on granny flats. It has proven to be a concept in Encinitas that we can say yes to together. One thing I know to be true is that no one wants new housing units to negatively impact our community. I hope that most can agree that no matter how much money you earn, paying for a roof over your head should be feasible. Currently, the median home price in Encinitas is more than $1 million. That is out of reach for many, many people. When we talk about affordable housing, we are not talking about rundown or dilapidated blight. We are, however, talking about housing that is smaller in scale than a $1 million home, so that we can welcome our retirees and young professionals, teachers, public safety and medical professionals, students, and our children as warmly as we can. We also need to extend a warm hand to our neighbors who are currently experiencing homelessness. For many homeless, the experience is a temporary state. It is not an identity. And we are in a position to help in that process. Last year, the City Council approved a safe parking program for people currently living in their vehicles through a partnership with Jewish Family Service and the Leach-Tech Foundation. After a review process, participants are provided with safe overnight parking, which offers both a sense of security and needed social services. A study revealed that 16 individuals transitioned into permanent housing from there, and 14 individuals were reunited with their family. There has been no increase in crime in nearby neighborhoods. The city has also funded the Opening Doors program with the Community Resource Center, placing 129 individuals into permanent housing since the program began in 2016. Lack of housing affordability is the #1 driver of homelessness. For many, there is also an undeniable mental health and substance abuse issue. But homelessness is not unique to Encinitas. It is increasing in every city. It is my opinion that Encinitas, like every community, should be focusing on dealing with homelessness together, creatively, compassionately, and with clear eyes to help people and to prevent people from living on our streets. As we continue to address our housing challenges, I encourage you to stay engaged. Write to us and share your opinion. Stay informed about Encinitas initiatives. We appreciate hearing from you, and it really is the best way for us to make sure that our priorities reflect your priorities appropriately. Another area I want to touch on is our city's customer service. Last year saw the rollout of the city's customer service initiative, a system which now accepts applications and permits 24/7. These customer service advances have served the city well during COVID, and applications continue to be processed by staff uninterrupted. We've extended our customer service to our business community, hosting multiple workshops and working closely with the Chamber and our Main Street organizations on programs that aid businesses. One such program is the Share Streets program, which is partially funded by a grant from Sandag, which allows restaurants and businesses to use city streets to keep operating. Thanks to this program, our Highway 101 downtown now sports a bit of a European flair. As we wind down this year's unique state of the city in a year like no other, I have to say that I am profoundly proud to be an Encinitas resident and your Encinitas mayor. As I reflect back on all that we have accomplished together, I am especially delighted to close out this year so strongly despite 2020's challenges. Our proactive approach to protecting public health, our collective desire to be prudent stewards of our environment, our commitment to protecting our city's finances and character, and our innovative approach to solving our housing challenges is the result of knowledge gained through years of thoughtful community engagement. Because we are in it together, we are a very special community, and Encinitas remains a fantastic place to live, raise a family, enjoy recreation, eat, shop, and be inspired. I am motivated by all of you each day as I serve as your mayor, and I see nothing but greatness ahead for us. Thanks to you all, and good evening.